Welcome to the Wellness Transformation Journey podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Peters. In the last few episodes, I've been talking about creating joy around exercise and eating. This is because when you find joy in what we're doing, we are more likely to continue doing the journey. Once a weight loss or wellness journey starts to feel like an obligation or job, we tend to begin to resent the process and can eventually get burned out. I know this has been the case for me in the past, and there are still times I fight the urge to give up when I get tired of watching my diet or how I exercise. That's when I switch it up and change my focus for a while. In this episode, I'm going to finish up talking about finding joy in your wellness journey by talking about developing an enjoyment-based lifestyle. As I've discussed in other episodes, we are motivated by multiple factors. When it comes to things like eating, exercise, and lifestyle, we are most motivated by either the idea that we will receive a reward or we want to avoid punishment. This can develop a negative relationship with food and exercise when we feel we have to be rewarded or that if we don't do something, we'll lose something or be punished, such as gaining weight or not being successful. This is not to say that rewarding yourself is a bad thing. I rewarded myself throughout the process and continue to do this at times, but don't make the reward a driving factor. By telling yourself something like, I can only have ice cream if I run 5 miles or burn 300 calories in a workout. This isn't sustainable, nor is it mentally healthy. The other form of motivation is doing something because you want to do it for yourself. It is about doing something for you and not to compete with anyone else. As I talked about before, I don't run races to compete with other people. I'm what would be considered a slow runner, and I'm more than okay with that. I run races to challenge myself and feel good about myself. I love being outside and I love photography. I use running to not only stay healthy, but to be outside and take photos. I don't worry about stopping and taking photos. Is it going to mess up my time? That's not something that bothers me. When I run a race, I do set goals, but I have a tendency to take photos as I go. I usually don't stop because I don't want to stop the momentum, but I've learned to take some decent photos while on the move. I run for enjoyment and I race for myself. As you make adjustments to your eating and exercise habits on your wellness journey, you also make adjustments to your lifestyle to support who you are becoming. As I've said many times, and I can't reiterate this enough, don't change everything all at once. This will become overwhelming and frustrating. Make changes over time so they become habits. Doing this over time also makes it easier to make adjustments to the changes you're making. When I'm asked about how I changed my life, I'm often told by people that they've been doing what they do for so long they couldn't possibly change now. My answer to that is, first, you have to want to change. Then, you have to commit to trying to change. And third, you should go about it slowly and methodically so you don't get overwhelmed. Here are some suggestions for creating an enjoyment-based lifestyle based on my personal experience. First, and I talk about this a lot, adjust your environment to allow for natural enjoyment. As you go through your wellness journey, you'll start to notice things that support you and others that create challenges. To make the environment more supportive, adjust and organize to make yourself feel more comfortable and the space more inviting. Consider making spaces supportive for your sensory needs. This can include organizing your kitchen to make cooking more enjoyable or creating a yoga space with a diffuser. Determine what reduces friction between you and enjoying healthy activities. For example, I've never been the most organized person, and my friends would be happy to tell you that. But I've also found that when my spaces are organized, I feel more relaxed and less overwhelmed. I've reorganized my kitchen every so often as I figure out what works best for me based on the rental house I'm living in and my budget. My fridge always drives me crazy, and since I've been home during the summer, I decided to reorganize it. I replaced some of my old storage dishes to use clear ones and disposed of old condiments to make room on my door for other things like drinks. I'm still working on it, but I already feel better because I can see what's in my fridge. As I did this, I also wanted to reorganize my space where I store my food that I buy in bulk, like protein shakes and sports drinks. I will eventually get a new shelf unit for the food, but for now, I took a few shelves from the space in the room where the stuff is stored and dedicated it just for the bulk items. It might not sound like much to some people, but organizing it to where I can see everything, putting the items on shelves based on the use by date, and having it off the floor has relaxed me a lot. Even though this isn't a space that I'm in very often, it was frustrating when I would go into that room. Now I can see what I have, and I'm actually happy with myself because I did the project that I've been putting off for months. Next, start thinking about rituals or anchor points that can become part of your daily routine. Having a regular routine can make a wellness journey feel easier and make it something you look forward to. Again, like with everything else, start slowly and build on it. Starting the day with certain routines and movement can set the tone for the rest of your day. I often start with 5 to 10 minutes of quiet, or at least I did until I got a cat. Now I still chill in the morning for 5 to 10 minutes, but it's usually cuddling with her when she lets me. This is relaxing and allows me to wake up. Once I get up, I go for a walk, run, bike ride, or whatever sort of workout I choose. Even on rest days, I try to get at least 30 minutes of movement in. I then add movement throughout the day as a way to relax and decompress, especially when I'm at work. I try to make my movement unrelated to food, so I don't reward myself with food, in order to separate the relationship. In saying that, I do refuel with a shake or banana after a major workout, not as a reward, but as a way to ensure my body is getting the nutrients it needs. In relation to food, develop meal traditions that are healthy and satisfying. It may be something social like meal times with your family away from the television and phones. I live alone, but sometimes I'll FaceTime with my nieces or nephews to make meals family oriented. I don't eat out a lot, but I do create times where I plan to do this alone or with friends. This switches things up and provides opportunities for different culinary experiences. When I'm in the office, I close my door at lunchtime and turn the computer off, or I may play music, but I like to sit in the quiet to eat and relax away from people asking me questions. This allows me to enjoy my meal and take some time to focus on me. Another area to focus on is sleep. This is extremely important, and I'll be talking about it more in future episodes. It's important to develop routines that support our sleep cycles. Putting the phone down at certain times at night or turning the television off at a certain time before you go to bed might be one of those choices you make. Maybe meditating or reading before you go to bed, this may help you as well. Sometimes I read before I go to bed, and other times I will meditate for 5 to 10 minutes before I go to sleep. One thing that I try to stick to is going to bed between 9 and 9:30 p.m. I won't look at my phone 15 to 30 minutes before going to bed, and I try to turn my television off 10 to 20 minutes before I go to sleep. I personally don't keep a television in my bedroom so that I avoid falling asleep to the TV or watching TV before I go to bed. I do feel like this is an area that I could do better on, and I'm still working at setting up my sleep ritual to something that I stay consistent with. When it comes to sleep, it's important to understand that it supports our mood and recovery. It should be taken just as seriously as the rest of our routines. When I start following a regular routine, which I break occasionally, especially during football season, I start to notice differences in my physical and mental health. As with other areas of your wellness journey, having a support system is important. There will be people who don't understand the idea of taking an enjoyment-based approach to your wellness journey, and that's okay. They may look at you weird or ask questions. but you can still find like-minded people, sometimes at home or online. They'll provide you with the support you need, and you can support them as well. It can benefit everyone. As I've discussed before, I find support from family, friends, and on social media. Social situations can be uncomfortable at first, especially with eating and exercise. Planning ahead when you go out to eat gives you time to enjoy the company and not having to worry about your diet. I regularly look at the menu online before going someplace. Then I don't have to worry about what I call panic ordering because I don't want people waiting for me. And remember, one slip or moment of indulgence doesn't end the journey, so enjoy yourself. If you get together with people, you can always make it non-food based to support yourself, especially when starting out. I've even found support in places that I never expected, such as the gym, and from people that I had never expected to find support from. As I've talked about many times, I have a little bit of an uncomfortable relationship with the gym. My size, loose skin, and discomfort in my appearance always made going to the gym a little bit of a terrifying experience. I actually quit going to the gym after getting strange looks and negative comments several years ago, and about a year ago I decided to go back. I usually keep to myself, but there have been times where I've needed help, and people at the gym where I'm at have been great about offering me any assistance. We mostly keep to ourselves, but I have found a few instances where I get encouragement or support from people I don't even know. I haven't had a negative experience yet at this gym, which is great for me as someone who in the past hasn't had that type of experience. When you feel pressured or get comments about your choices, it can feel uncomfortable in how to respond, especially if you're like me and you're a people pleaser. When I was extremely overweight, I would have people comment to me that I needed to eat less, and interestingly, those same people now try to push me to eat more. I constantly felt the need to either fight back or I would give in to what they were saying so they wouldn't be disappointed in me. I found that with most people, if I explained the situation or asked them to stop, they would. What I started to realize was that the people who didn't stop pushing or flip-flop once I lost weight didn't really care and weren't there to support me. They were there to support their own agenda, whatever that was. It's hard, but with those people, I would remove myself from the table, or I would be blunt with them to make them back off, or I just ignored them. In extreme cases, I quit associating with those people. It can be difficult, but it's good and healthy to stand up for yourself. Developing an enjoyment-based lifestyle can help support your wellness journey, but that doesn't mean challenges won't come up. I've talked about many of these situations, such as reaching periods where nothing seems enjoyable. This could be due to several things, including your body being tired, you need a break from the activity you're doing, or maybe you haven't developed the skills to the level that you want. Another possibility is that you have reached a plateau with the current activity. Maybe it's become too easy, or you're just tired of that activity. There are some things you can do. Switch it up and try a new activity for a few days and add it into your routine so you're not doing the same one or two things each day. If you haven't developed the skills yet, tone back your workouts and expectations, but keep building your skills to reach where you want. If it's because it's too easy, then add challenges to make it harder. For instance, when you weight lift, as you develop muscle, you will probably start adding more weight. This creates a greater challenge. Similarly, if you run and it's too easy, then try to speed up your times or extend your distance. This makes the workout a challenge and changes it by adding more skills. Lastly, structure is important to developing healthy habits. It's important to be flexible with your routines as well. Be open to changing your routine when things aren't working out. When it's impossible to get outside or go to the gym, have something at home to do. Develop decision-making frameworks that prioritize pleasure based on situations, how you feel, and where you are. As you go through the process, you'll begin to trust your instincts and listen to yourself and your body when making choices. Be open to changing as your preferences change. For instance, my preferences change as the seasons and weather changes. When it's warmer in the spring, summer, and fall, I like to be outside as long as it's not too warm. Therefore, I hike more, and I plan hiking trips around the times that should provide optimum weather conditions. This doesn't always work out because nature has its own plan, but that's what I try to do. When it's too warm or cold, I may run less or change the time or location to accommodate my workout. In the summer, I start earlier. In the winter, I may go to the indoor track. Now, I also adjust based on what I'm training for, a trip, or if I need to take some downtime and allow my body to rest and recover. While enjoyment-based activities may contradict what we are often told about a weight loss and wellness journey, finding joy in what we're doing makes the journey more sustainable. When we don't enjoy what we're doing, it can start to feel miserable, which leads to the desire to stop. This can lead us to giving up. Unlike a job, it's easier to walk away from a weight loss journey, especially if we feel it's not helping. However, if it's for you and your well-being, then it's extremely important. Make joy a part of your daily routine. Adapt based on what you need, and most importantly, enjoy the journey.